Coming off the game the other night, took a look at it, and thought we did some good things. Thought we played with some toughness. We were together. We were connected. We talked about that after the game. We did that pretty consistently for 40 minutes. We've got to continue to do that. Obviously we were disappointed a little bit with our ball security in the second half. We had 9 turnovers. Thought a lot of them were sloppiness on our part that we've got to get cleaned up. So we talked about that, showed that on the film. Had a good day yesterday, short prep, 2 days, quick turnaround for both teams. So trying to manage, how much we do physically, making sure we're mentally and physically ready to go tomorrow night, expecting just a real war, battle. Both teams have been playing really well here, and we know it's a great challenge, whether it's on the backboard, whether it's transition defense, whether it's defending their personnel. They're very good and they're playing very, very well. So we understand that we've got to be ready to go. I think the guys had a great look in their eye yesterday, had a good workout. Have to have another great one today. Looking forward to getting with them here this afternoon. Questions?
John, obviously senior night for the 6 guys, but Malcolm Hill especially, he's put up all-time great numbers. How will you remember him most in your time here?
I thought obviously I'm getting ready to go to the senior luncheon here in a few minutes. So I've spent some time thinking about, all 6 of those guys. Special guys. They've been through a lot, both on and off the court, really grown as people, and what they've done academically is ridiculous. They've got a chance to finish with 10 degrees from the University of Illinois. How they've learned to handle success, how to handle adversity, how to stick together. And Malcolm's one of those guys. All the numbers and stuff like that, and stories. We're on that deal right now where we were talking about, climbing a ladder one step at a time and avoiding, continuing to stay in bunker mode. And so, I don't know Jeremy right now, and out of respect for, maybe in particular a conversation I had with Tracy yesterday. We're going to keep this thing. I'll have those guys over for a meal, and we'll have a heck of a time when it's all finished up. Right now our focus is on having a great practice today in preparation for tomorrow's Michigan State game.
Yeah, these seniors, you've been with them a long time, but it's got to be fun right now to, with all the ups and downs, to have something good going on, have something exciting
Sure.
going on, have something to play for here. Malcolm has been outspoken since the start about, hey, I want to play in the tournament,
Yeah, sure.
And that's still maybe within grasp. So it's got to be fun to at least have that on the table right now.
Well, it's fun to be playing well. And that's not a given. It's certainly not. The root of that, I think, is just the way that we've competed with some toughness and togetherness, and the guys have really come together and played for each other. And our upperclassmen, while we're talking about them, certainly have spearheaded that, but our young guys have really stepped up as well. And we're going to obviously need everybody tomorrow night.
I wanted to ask you about Malcolm too. And I think even, as a freshman, each year starting then you heaped more responsibility on him and really challenged him. Can you just talk about that relationship you've had with him and how he's maybe grown with that, or just how he's come to accept that type of role?
Yeah, we first of all, we've really challenged each other. He's made, as all those guys have, they've made me better. I shared with them the other day, I may sound like a broken record at times. Some of you guys that have been around here for an eternity, may feel like I'm saying the same thing over and over, but what I can tell you guys is that you guys have clearly gotten better as people, students, and athletes over 3 or 4 years, and so have I. You've worked at it, I've worked at it. So continue to be open-minded. And but one thing that, the reason I shared that with them is we take pride in listening to one another. And obviously you're talking specifically about Malcolm, but we've had a lot of conversations over the years about a lot of different things. And it is neat to see him grow up, handle those things and continue to mature and handle them even better as he's gotten older. and we're gonna need him to do that down the stretch.
Did you, obviously you identified that early on with him and everyone knew he was a big talent, but sometimes, the guy has a talent and you need them to do more than, in the other ways outside of basketball than
Sure.
they're ready.
Well, he showed up at 17, he was 17 years old, he's young. Like I said, the maturity, I think, is the thing that stood out, and I've always told him, as I have those other guys, I'm not gonna give you anything that I don't think you could do. I really believe in you. And, our job's to get them to bust through ceilings that they self-impose. And not necessarily intentionally, but that's coaching. And Malcolm's been responsive to that. He's really, a guy that wants to work. He's not afraid to work. He's one of the hardest workers in terms of the amount of time he puts in away from what we ask them to do. He's certainly up there in the guys that I've coached during my career, both as an assistant and head coach. He cares. And because of that investment, he's experienced some dividends from that and really improved and grown and gotten better. But I think a lot of it just starts with the listening, aspect. When we sit down and talk, he has great ideas. He thinks well. We have had some interesting conversations over the years.
Could you give a general one from maybe way back then? That's
No, that's between me and him.
Any ideas though that he shared that basketball?
I had one the other day. We were running a particular action, and he came up with an idea of how to end the action. I really liked it, and so we put it in. He's an older guy. He sees things. He had an ending to a particular set play that he thought would be good, and I said, I think that's a great idea. So, he's as he's gotten older, really starts to see things, has good IQ. Obviously it's been well done. He's played every position during his career here, which is very unique. And probably, you have to ask him, hasn't played all 5 positions this year, but probably knows all 5 of them. So he's bright and has good thought, very thoughtful, and cares about his team, cares about his teammates.
With the 3-game winning streak, is there a sense the team's turned a corner? You talking about they were playing more tough, playing more connected. Is there a sense that, I know it's game to game, but maybe some of the lapses from before are kind of behind them and that they're in a different mindset now?
Well, obviously we played well. That doesn't guarantee you anything today. We got to show up and do that today at practice. We got to show up and do it again tomorrow. It's a choice that we make. I always tell them the greatest gift God gave us is the gift to choose. That's a choice. And lately we've chose the right path. We got to continue to do that. I think the way you do that is staying really focused on the day to day and keeping it very, very simple. But we're not. I use the analogy with them. We're going to learn from every circumstance. That's why we look at every film very quickly and then we move on, and that gives us an opportunity to get better. But at the end of the day, we're using the analogy driving a car and as if the rear view mirror is not there. That's out. Okay, we're moving forward.
Michigan State has also played pretty well here at the end of the year, and with 3 freshman starters and a 4th that plays a lot. I mean, I know it's not a given that they get better as the season progresses, but have you maybe seen that from their young guys?
Sure. And obviously, I watched a lot of them since we, on the flight back from Nebraska and then subsequent to that. So, no question, and I've got an assistant coach who's watched a ton, even prior to us playing Nebraska the other day. So, saw a lot of clips. I've seen a lot of game film, and they are playing very, very well right now. And seem to have good synergy and playing with good toughness and seem to be really together and are playing some good basketball, no doubt about it.
Is there an aspect of their game, Michigan State, that you see as the toughest to defend or overcome?
No, not necessarily one thing. There's multiple things. Obviously when you talk about them, you got to get back and transition their a load, really good transition. Great on the glass, as they always are, execute well, take good care of the ball, especially here lately, and really share the ball, high assist rate team. And what do you expect from his teams?
Coach, you have your own freshman who's a really good distributor, and so do they in Cassius. How good is he, and are those two the best you've seen as freshmen in terms of being mature with their ability to distribute?
It's a great question in terms of the maturity part of that, Derek. You know, obviously I haven't seen everybody because I'm so locked in on us and our opponents. But they're two guys that are playing well right now, you know, from my viewpoint, for sure. And both of them have elite level vision and can really see, and that's, you know, a gift. And they really bring that to the table and have an ability to make their teams better. And you know, obviously you watch the film and you can see that it's very evident when you watch them and how he does that. And I think Tijon has done that for us as well.
John, I would describe you as having a fighter's mentality. Every year you guys seem to have adversity and you seem to fight your way back. And this team seems to have bought into that. Where does that come from you personally, though, that kind of fighter's mentality?
Well, first of all, I give a lot of credit to the players. You know, they have to choose to respond and be tough. So I think, you know, certainly the bulk, if not all that credit, goes to the character that they have inside of them, you know, their DNA. In terms of, you know, fighting mentality, you know, probably my parents, you know, my coaches that I've had in the past, teammates, you know, there's a lot. I've been very fortunate, very blessed to have been around a lot of really good players that have taught me a lot, and good coaches. I've got great parents, and you know, it's just kind of what we do. We fight.
With the schedule here in your last 3 games, I mean, it's opponents you hadn't played yet in the Big Ten. I mean, that's kind of an odd quirk in the schedule. Does that change anything about as far as prep goes, just because it's someone new?
Yeah, it does a little bit, Scott, because you know, you hate to say you're speedballing it in a week where you're playing, you know, Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday against first-time opponents. But it's the reality of it is, yeah, I think it is a little bit different versus where we had somehow the schedule was falling, and of course you guys followed it, where we might have played a team 2 times in 2 weeks. You know, obviously that second prep within a 2-week window, there's great familiarity there as you prepare for that opponent for a second time anyway, and even more so when it's a short window. So that's happened to us 2 or 3 times in league play. It does make it a little bit unique, but I have a great staff. Those guys are so far. I mean, as soon as I got on the plane, you know, they're handing me the folder the other night. You know, they've got the clips all put together. You know, we have our meeting on Monday morning early. They're ready to go. You know, we talk about game plan, and you know, they're really, really good. And right now, the players have been good about being locked in and taking it 1 game at a time, and have had great attention to detail. And you know, hopefully, you know, we'll have that again tomorrow.
On the rebounding against Nebraska, and they won the battle at the end, but you had 5 guys with 4, and like Tijon and JCL at 4 apiece. I mean, have you seen that change where you're getting more guys involved there?
Yeah, Scott, for sure. We really challenged the guards to help us out there. We're going to need, you know, tomorrow night, as good as they rebounded, we got to have everybody participate. You know, we got to gang rebound it, and I think you're right. Certainly the other night, what allowed us to be competitive on the backboard against a really good rebounding team was the fact that our guards were involved, and we're going to need them to continue to do that.
Mark alluded to this, but are you actually verbalizing the NCAA tournament as a motivation?
No, we practiced at 2:35 today.
And why is that? Because I mean,
You know, we're controlling what we can control right now. We've really bought into this concept of, and you know, we want to do it anyway, but I've used the analogy of a, you know, ladder. You know, my dad does a lot of construction, and he's had a couple accidents here and there. He's tried to tell him to retire. He doesn't listen to me, but he just likes to work, I think. No, I know he does. But the analogy of it's happened to him a time or two where he's skipping steps trying to get up the ladder to get to the next part of the task or job he's on, and you know, he may have fallen once or twice and he ended up in the emergency room maybe once, and so he taught me it's not a real good idea to skip steps. And so we're not gonna skip steps. You know, we're gonna take it one day at a time, and we're gonna continue to get better. We gotta get better today. We gotta finish up our game prep today and our planning and make sure everybody's locked in and knows exactly what they need to do. And then tomorrow night, you know, we wanna come out and we wanna play with some toughness and togetherness.
John, when you had that bad streak at the beginning of the year till the beginning of the Big Ten season, do you have to remind these guys that their goals still are attainable, that, you know?
Yeah, we do that every once in a while, just to kind of say, take a deep breath, you know, fellas, relax. It's a long season, a lot of games, stay the course. You know, the game we played 2 weeks ago or a week ago, like, that's not changing. You know, how do we get better from that? We'll say that, we'll do that for sure, you know, for sure. Talking about with them, hey, you know, and that we are still playing for something, we'll say that to them. And they believe that. They've continued to really, you know, really lock in here down the stretch. But yeah, we'll talk to them about that, but not nearly as much as we talk about, you know, honoring the process, coming in today, control what we can control, you know, and doing that, climbing that ladder one step at a time. So, you know, that's more important, because then the score takes care of itself. You can't control that all the time, but you can control how well prepared you are, how well you play. That gives you the best chance anyway to win. So for us, that's kind of what we're focused on.
John, tomorrow, it seems like this would be a game where, with a great crowd, and there ought to be good crowds in the building tomorrow. I know the university's done some things to get students there. Kent said they hope to announce later today that it's a sellout. Can the crowd make a difference in this kind of a game tomorrow?
Well, it challenged me last night on the radio show and after the game Sunday to come out, and as they always do, they're going to. We got great fans. They love it. If anything, just to honor the seniors and everything that they've been through, their fight here, how they've continued to fight and compete and come together. So it's great that you know, we appreciate our fans. I do think they can certainly make a difference. You know, we hope the building has a ton of energy tomorrow night. There. Wonder's holding on to the button.
Coach, I know I'm asking you to think back, but what do you remember about that first call to Malcolm after you took the job? Obviously, he was committed to this program.
Yeah, I just remember him coming to campus early, right after I got the job, and with his mom, his dad, and Patrick Smith, and I remember sitting down on the couch with him, his folks, and Patrick, and going through unofficial visit, you know, getting to know him better at that point, what he, you know, wanted to do, and what his goals and dreams are. And then I remember sitting on the couch with him, just he and I, towards the end of that visit, talking. At that time, he was, like I say, he was 17 years old. It's hard to believe, but yeah, it's flown by. So I certainly remember that, and then I remember the phone call saying, "Coach, I'm in." You know, believe me, I'm glad that he made that phone call.
Just check the phone line, Coach.
Anybody on the phone line?
Shannon?
I usually say Shannon, but Shannon's here.
Anything else here in the room?
Thanks, guys.
Brisket.
Brisket. I'm gonna miss that too.
All right, Dan.